15 years ago, my, then 18F, best friend, 18F, got pregnant by my boyfriend, 20M, of 3 years, and my family knew about it but didn't tell me, so I ran from home. This story goes back 15 years and it changed my life forever. I'm a 33-year-old woman and I need you to hear me out. When I was 18 and in my last year of high school, I thought everything was going great for me. I lived with my parents and my 4 siblings, 23M, 22M, 20EF, 14F, and I spent most of my time with my best friend Ashley, 18F, and/or my boyfriend Kyle, 20M. Our parents were all best friends, so Ashley and Kyle were like family to me. We grew up together, celebrated holidays and birthdays, and visited each other often since we lived in the same town. Ashley was my closest friend for 18 years, and I trusted her with anything. Our parents would sometimes tease us that we were inseparable. Kyle and I had been dating for 3 years, and I was sure he was the one for me. We were very serious, and we even planned to get married after he graduated from college. He was in his 2nd year then. I wanted to go to university, but I was also happy with the idea of being Kyle's wife and a stay-at-home mom. My parents adored Kyle and supported our relationship. I was truly happy. I should mention here that my sister 20F was also dating Kyle's brother 23M, and that our siblings were all very close. One day, at the start of the school year, I saw that Ashley was acting very sad and distant. I kept asking her what was wrong, and she finally told me she was pregnant. I was shocked because I didn't know she had broken up with her boyfriend a while ago, and I didn't know she had someone else in her life. I asked her who the father was, and she wouldn't tell me, but she hinted that it was her ex. She was very upset, so I didn't push her and just comforted her. I was with her when she told her family, and although her parents were disappointed, they said they would support her in whatever she chose. They tried to get her to tell them the father's name, but she refused and made me swear to keep quiet. They didn't know she had a boyfriend at one point. I was by her side for the next 9 months. I accompanied her to the ultrasound, the doctor's appointments. I supported her when she was bullied in school for being pregnant. I helped her decorate the nursery. I was there when she was sick or sad. I threw a baby shower for her. I went shopping with her. I even took some parenting classes with her. We picked names together, and she asked me to be with her in the delivery room. I saw that the pregnancy was really hard on her emotionally and physically, and I did everything I could to help her. She was my best friend, always there for me, and I loved her. 2 weeks before she was due, I bumped into her ex at the mall. I had sworn not to contact her, but seeing him made me furious. I knew how much she was hurting, and he had abandoned her when she needed him most. I gave him an earful, calling him a scumbag for leaving her pregnant and alone and not caring about his own child. He looked stunned and said he had no clue what I was talking about. He said Ashley never told him she was pregnant and that he couldn't be the father anyway, since they had broken up more than a year ago and hadn't been together since. I was baffled, but I apologized for shouting at him in public. He got snarky then and said some mean things. He also suggested that I should ask Ashley's friend Kyle if he was the daddy. I didn't pay much attention to his words. Kyle and Ashley had been friends since childhood, and we were all close because of our parents' friendship, but they never acted like anything more than that. That night, my younger sister, 14F, and I were getting ready for a movie night. I vented to her about running into Ashley's ex and what he said. My sister, who usually has a lot to say, got quiet and didn't say much back. After a while, she said she had to go to the bathroom. I went downstairs to get some snacks and heard her yelling at my mom. I don't remember everything clearly because I was so emotional. My sister told my mom about me meeting Ashley's ex and what he said, and said she couldn't keep hiding from me that Kyle was the father of Ashley's baby. I was shocked, completely shocked. I walked into the kitchen and demanded to know what was going on. My mom and my sister turned pale when they saw me, and my sister burst into tears. She told me, and I later confirmed with others, that at the end of summer break, Kyle and Ashley went to a house party, got drunk, and hooked up. Ashley got pregnant and told Kyle, but they were both ashamed and scared to tell me. They also didn't tell their parents. Ashley eventually told her mom and dad, who told Kyle's parents and then mine. This all happened when Ashley was in her first trimester. By her second trimester, all of my siblings and Kyle's and Ashley's siblings knew. Everyone, except me. I can't describe how I felt. I was sick for the next 3 days and I couldn't talk to anyone. My parents said they were sorry, but they didn't want to hurt me or ruin our relationships. I didn't talk to Kyle or Ashley, even though they kept calling and texting me, and even came to my house. I wouldn't see them. One time, Kyle's mom came over and my mom let her into my room. I was lying in bed, still sick and heartbroken by their betrayal. She tried to persuade me to forgive them and said Ashley and the baby needed me. I said nothing. Ashley went into labor 2 weeks later. My parents told me she had a difficult delivery and needed an emergency C-section after losing a lot of blood. Kyle was there with her. I felt crushed beyond consolation. I felt betrayed by both of them, and I couldn't be there for her like I wanted to. I had been waiting for this moment for months, for so many reasons. My older sister rushed to the hospital to be with her boyfriend. My other siblings were out, so it was just me and my parents at home. I just wanted to curl up in my bed or hug my mom and cry my heart out. Then my mom got a call from Ashley's mom. She came to my room and said she and Dad were going to the hospital. I was confused and asked her to stay with me. She said Ashley's parents needed all the support they could get and that we would talk later. I begged her not to go and said I needed their support too, but she told me not to be selfish, and they left. I was alone in the house, and I couldn't make sense of what had happened in the past few weeks. I couldn't believe that my parents would go and support someone who had hurt me so much while I was here suffering. Was I really selfish for thinking that? I don't know when, but my sadness turned into anger, the kind I had never felt before. In a burst of mixed emotions and feelings of betrayal, I packed my bags and decided to leave home. I hesitated for a while, and then sat in the living room, feeling empty. After a while, I got a text from my sister. She said Ashley had a healthy girl, and they were both okay. She sent me a picture of the baby and said they named her Sarah, the name Ashley and I had picked out months ago. She texted me again later and said my parents and she were going to a bar in town with Ashley's and Kyle's parents to celebrate. I don't remember much after that. I think I was overwhelmed by everything, and my memory is blurry. I left. I got on a train and left. I ended up staying at a hostel in Phoenix for a while. I found a job at a store and planned to finish high school there. My parents, siblings, Kyle, and Ashley tried to reach me. My mom left me a frantic voicemail begging me to come back. They reported me as missing, but nothing came of it since I was 18. Anyway, I met Dean, 21M, soon after that. He lived in Phoenix, too, and had a complicated relationship with his family. We hit it off and became friends quickly. He helped me a lot then. I was struggling. I had no clue how to take care of myself or how to be an adult. He introduced me to his friends, helped me graduate from high school, and I moved in with him and his roommates. He helped me cope with my pain. I was really suffering at one point and had some regrets. I wanted to see a therapist, but I couldn't afford it. He was always there for me and supported me through everything. I don't think I would have made it without him. We started dating after a year. He inherited some money from his grandpa and decided to move across the country to the big city. We hadn't been together for long, but he asked me to go with him. I was hesitant because we both had a lot of emotional baggage, and I was still very insecure about my situation, but I agreed. We moved, got jobs, and tried to make it work. We got married soon after my 21st birthday. It was a crazy, spontaneous decision, but we did it. I enrolled in university, and Dean helped me pay for it. He opened his own company, and it took off. We were able to live more comfortably. I was in uni and also worked part-time to help out. We had our good and bad times, but we made it through. Looking back, I don't think I was in love with Dean when we got married. I loved him, but I wasn't in love with him. But he was always there for me, no matter what. And now, I don't think I could love him more. He is the love of my life. We've been married for 12 years now, and we have a 2-year-old son and a 6-month-old son. Sometimes I regretted leaving my family behind, but I couldn't go back. It was too painful. I felt like my parents chose Ashley and Kyle over me. I went to a therapist when I was 25 and tried to deal with my emotions. Last year, at the start of the pandemic, I got an email from a 14-year-old girl named Evelyn. She said she was my niece, my older sister's and Kyle's brother's kid. She knew about me and wanted to meet me. I was reluctant to talk to her, but we exchanged some emails. She didn't know what happened 15 years ago, so the conversations were pretty innocent. We talked about her school, interests, and my family. I learned I had 10 nieces and nephews. I also learned that Kyle married Ashley 4 years after I left and had 2 more sons besides Sarah. My parents stayed friends with Kyle's and Ashley's families, and it felt like my family went on with their lives even though I was gone. She tried to ask me what happened, but I didn't think it was my place to tell her. So I just said that relationships change and things happen in life that make us go our separate ways. We kept in touch every now and then for almost a year. In her email this January, she said how the pandemic had a big impact on her whole family and how my parents were struggling to keep their house and both my brothers lost their jobs and couldn't keep up with the bills. I was surprised that she knew all this, since she was only 14, but the hardship was also causing problems between her parents. I was dealing with a lot of guilt and regret, and having a new baby made me more emotional. I talked to my husband and he was very supportive. He said he would stand by me whatever I decided. We were doing well financially and the pandemic didn't affect us much. We weren't rich, but we lived comfortably. After finding out more details and talking to Dean, we decided to help my parents with their house. We flew back to my home state a week ago. I saw my family for the first time in 15 years. I felt so many things: regret, pain, betrayal. My parents seemed glad to see me. It was such a strange day. We had a long talk and agreed to try to have a civil relationship. It had been so long and I felt awkward with them. Sometimes they felt like strangers. Dean and I stayed there for a week and we kept talking. I thought we were on our way to having a friendly but distant relationship. But then my mom started pushing me to have a sit-down with Kyle and Ashley. She said she wanted things to go back to how they were. I told her I wouldn't talk to them. I had moved on, but I had no connection to them anymore, and I didn't want to bring up the past. I told her I was willing to try to have a relationship with them as my family, and I really cared about my niece, but I wanted nothing to do with Kyle, Ashley, or their family. I didn't ask them to stop being friends with them, but I didn't want to be friends with them. Dean backed me up. My mom called me selfish and said I had to try to heal our relationship. I told her I wouldn't budge, and it was up to her if she wanted to have a relationship with me. She said okay. But 2 days later, I got a call from Kyle's mom. I didn't give her my number, and she demanded, yes, demanded, that I talk to Kyle and Ashley. She said my return caused problems in their relationship and their mental health. I hung up. I called my mom and confronted her. She had given that woman my number to fix our family ties. I told her she was choosing them over me again. She cried and yelled at me that I was selfish and that she just wanted her family back. I hung up. I haven't talked to any of them since, but my mom and Kyle's mom keep calling. I think I'm right, and I want to put myself and my husband, who has always supported me and even stood up to my mom, and my sons first. But I have some doubts. I wonder if I should talk to Ashley and Kyle like my mom wants. I wonder if I overreacted 15 years ago. I wonder if I'm being selfish for not trying to fix things. I could use some advice or input on what to do in this situation. I'm starting to question my whole life. I'm so confused, and I don't know what to do. Update 1. A lot has changed in the past few years, and not for the better. To keep it short, I didn't mention my little sister in my original post. She and my parents had a falling out after I left home, and she cut them off when she was 20. I got her number from our older sister, and we started talking again. It was weird at first, since it had been 15 years, but we got over it. She was mad at me for leaving. She had a tough life, and a lot of things happened to her. She has a toddler and a baby now, and I think the kids helped us reconnect. She's my best friend, and we talk every day. As for my other siblings, I keep in touch with both my brothers, but we're not close. My older sister and I are on good terms now, but we didn't talk for a while last year. She's married to Kyle's brother, so it was hard for her to handle all the drama in our families. We're fine now, and I love my nieces and nephews. I didn't go to my niece's birthday party. It would have been too hard for me. Now to my parents. This is hard for me to write, and it felt like I was going through all the crap I felt at 18 again. My mom wouldn't stop bothering me about not talking to Kyle and Ashley. She kept calling me for months even after I got home. It was like emotional blackmail. She blamed me for not respecting her wishes and for her friendship problems and health problems. She even said I was keeping her grandkids from her. I had my daughter last June, and that seemed to push her over the edge. She called me 100+ times a day, texted me every 20 minutes about random things, and sent me updates about people I didn't care about. When she started harassing Dean, I had enough. I was scared to block her, so I talked to my dad. It was probably the first real conversation we had in 17 years. I was exhausted from taking care of 3 kids and from everything else. I told him everything I felt and thought. I don't know what happened next. He doesn't say much. Her calls stopped, and something else must have happened because he filed for divorce in August. My dad and I talk regularly, but I don't think we'll ever be the same. My mom is heartbroken. She went crazy with her calls in August, and not just to me. I changed my number since then, and she hasn't been able to get hold of me since February. One of my brothers told me she has anxiety and depression and lost a lot of friends. I don't know if she still has a relationship with Kyle and Ashley's family. I want nothing to do with her, and I don't want her around my kids. The things she said to me about me and my husband, who she barely knows after 15 years of no contact, are insane. I wish I had a mom, but I think trying to fix what's left of our relationship would be too draining and painful. As for Kyle and Ashley, I got some calls from Kyle's mom. Like I said in my original post, I blocked her and no one else has called me. I have no idea what they're up to or where they are. I haven't talked to them at all. The only thing that happened was that, in August, when things got worse, my Bill, Kyle's brother, gave me a letter that Ashley supposedly wrote. I haven't opened it and I don't know if I want to. I feel like I'm over them, but I'm also curious about what she has to say after all these years. But that could bring back bad feelings. I'm doing okay now, with my babies and Dean, who has been amazing through all this. I'm focusing on my family, and I hope this is all behind me. To all of you, thank you again. I'll try to update sooner if anything else happens.